And that's completely fine. You could still be a great nurse. You still are a great nurse. That doesn't matter, because you could say your main focus is more on the family and ideas like that and things like that, which is super cool. I feel like a lot of times in this society, women don't get enough credit for, you could say, I don't want to say running the family, but lots of times the woman is, you could say, almost like the building block or the centerpiece of the household, because if you have somebody, your significant other, they're putting in 60 hours a week at work and they're, you could say, making the majority of the money. You are the main block as a woman. They're providing for the kids, taking care of the kids for the most part, taking care of the house, all that kind of stuff. And that's a very, very beautiful thing. That's why I always like to reflect, like in the 1900s, where women had a more, you could say, dominant role in the house, where they took care of the house more, the kids, all that kind of stuff. I'm always fond of women that do that, because for those of you that maybe are living still at your parents' house or haven't moved out, when you live alone, you realize all the responsibilities that you have to take care of outside of work. There's so much things to do in your home. There's so much errands to run. There's so much phone calls to make. There's so much things you have to do inside the home on top of what you do outside of work. So that alone is basically a full-time job. So if you're living alone and you're working a full-time job, you're basically having two jobs, because that responsibility is just huge. And I always respect women that like to fill that role of, hey, I'm going to either be a stay-at-home mom or I'm going to focus more on the kids, because that's something that's very not selfish, because you're almost putting the household, the family, the kids, the significant other in front of yourself, and you're focusing more on them than you are yourself. Because yeah, it would be cool being a CEO of a hospital, it'll be cool being a manager, making more money, all that kind of stuff, but that's not always a priority, and it shouldn't always be a priority. Not every person should strive for that, because then the world wouldn't work, relationships wouldn't work, things wouldn't work very well, because we need people like that in the world to do those kind of things. And lots of times people enter nursing because they are more nurturing at heart, and women, most often than not, are a lot more nurturing than dudes, even when it comes to patient interactions. Like sometimes I reflect on how I interacted with a patient versus how my female counterparts interact with patients, and I'm like, damn, that's so genuine and so nice. And if I was a patient, now to compare like the nursing care or like the nursing environment to some guy nurses versus some female nurses, a lot of times women do a lot better job than us men. And nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, I do the best that I can. I'm sure I excel at certain things compared to other things, and women just excel at that nurture. It's almost like their God-given power is to be able to just provide that almost naturally, and that's super, super cool. And I'm very fond of that. It's very nice to see. And even though maybe you haven't realized that or pay attention to it, next time you're on a unit or next time you're interacting with like a female, just pay attention to that. And a lot of times they're gonna blow your mind. You're just like damn, as a dude, I would never think about doing that, or even know how I would come across to do that. And women just somehow do it naturally.